I was hesitant to use Claude Code for a long time. The moment I tried it, I realized how much time I was wasting. And I say that as someone who thought these tools would make development a lot worse. I was convinced that coding AI tools would take the fun out of software development. Turns out I had it backwards. Used correctly, these tools let you focus on the meaningful work, the stuff that actually requires your brain, while automating the repetitive tasks you've been putting off for months. Once that clicked with me, the way I worked completely shifted. Here's an example. I have a side project I've been working on for years. I had built the entire backend for an MVP and had some decent unit tests, but I had not written a single integration test. Using Claude Code, I built a complete integration testing suite that covered every possible outcome from every GraphQL query mutation, and it only took me 4 days. This would have taken me months by hand. But you need to be careful. The first results weren't great. I'll put the code up on screen so you can see. It had raw service calls, GraphQL endpoints, and SQL queries all tangled together, hitting the same data source. The tests passed, but the code was a mess. So I stepped back, wrote some utility functions that only used the GraphQL endpoints, gave Claude stricter guidelines, asked it to start again and instead only use these utilities. What came back was clean, readable, and almost exactly what I have written myself. That's the key takeaway. You get out what you put in, give it proper guidelines, and it will surprise you. Here's another one that saved me days. A member of my team decided to leave out of the blue. He had been working across 3 separate new repos. None of them had any documentation, and they all interacted with each other in ways that made zero sense from the outside. I pulled all 3 repos into a single folder, asked Claude to generate some documentation explaining what each one was doing and how they connected. The output gave me a clear picture of what had been built, what hadn't, and where things were talking with each other. What could have been weeks of digging through someone else's code took me an afternoon. It's not just the big tasks either. I use it constantly for the smaller stuff that quietly eats away at your time. A vulnerability was discovered in Axios that could expose your personal data. I wanted it gone from my code bases. One prompt and it swapped every Axios instance for the native fetch function. An hour of work done in minutes. I use it for generating TypeScript types from the backend systems. I have Go services that expose GraphQL API endpoints. I ask Claude to generate some type files covering every mutation and query, copy that into my front end, and now both sides are perfectly in sync. If I have dependencies that I need to update, same thing. Ask Claude to go through each one, update it, run the project, fix whatever breaks, repeat until everything works. You just check the pull requests, make sure it all looks sensible, and then your monthly maintenance has been done with a single prompt. One thing worth saying is that if you're planning on using this for production code, don't ask it to build an entire feature in one go. It's tempting when you've been using it for a while and you can just see how powerful it is, but you start seeing compounding issues. Instead, get it to reference the code you've already written, then build new functions one at a time. That way you can review each piece, catch anything that's off, ask for changes before anything else gets built on top of it. It keeps the quality high and you in control. Here's the part that still surprises me. You don't need an expensive plan to get real value from this. I use Claude Code constantly in my personal development. Over the Easter holidays, I worked with it non-stop and still only used about 75% of my weekly limit. That's £18 a month for something that handles the parts of the job you don't want to do. It suggests better approaches you hadn't thought of and explains things clearly when you're stuck. It's like pair programming, and when used right for what it costs, it's probably the highest value tool in my workflow right now. And you know that you can kind of trust what I'm saying because I'm just some random guy starting on YouTube that has no subscribers, isn't putting an affiliate link, and isn't adding anything to get money off of this. It's just, if you're a developer, start using it now, because if you don't, the jobs are just going to keep asking for it more and more and more, and eventually it is the unfortunate kind of reality that this is what development is going to be in the future, and now's the time to learn it so that you don't become obsolete. If you're a developer who hasn't tried it yet, just start. Pick one task you've been putting off: writing tests, updating dependencies, documenting a messy codebase. Hand it off and see what comes back. You will thank me.